Hello and welcome to another episode of the Be You Babe podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Weaver, and today I have Amanda Foley, the PR expert, back on the podcast. I'm super excited to talk about social media. So if you are struggling with social media and just showing up, doing the thing, like continually in a consistent way, showing up on social media and finding that you're getting crickets and all those things, like that's what we're diving into today. So Amanda, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me back.
Maybe we should start with our own experience with social media and feeling the struggle, because we both have felt the struggle with social media. Let's start with you.
Okay. Where to begin? I think the thing about social media is it's almost the core of everything these days too.
Yeah.
I think just like really looking at it from the highest perspective possible, it's almost impossible to run a digital business without having a social presence. Even if you're not selling from there, if you're, gathering emails for a list or whatever it is, it's just really tough because I think that's where people are always going to try to get to know us better. And honestly, that's part of why I like PR, because it gives you another opportunity to put yourself out there in a way that doesn't always require the social piece of it too. But, it's not something I think that any of us can escape just yet. Maybe someday there'll be some other way. But for me, it's that I was, we were saying this when we were chatting before. It's sometimes it's even knowing what to say. That we have so much knowledge, and I think we've done so much for our own businesses and with our clients, and even personally with social media, it feels so much easier. And I think when you're doing it as part of a business, you feel a lot of pressure. And with my open route, I know that's something I always struggle with. Feeling that pressure that I have to post, but then at the same time having this, like my mind will go blank when it's time to say, what do I want to say today?
Yeah. And even I start to overthink of like, okay, I got to lead them through a funnel, or I need to lead them to something, and making sure you have all these parts and pieces in your post really starts to overthink. Like the structure's there is good, right? We need some masculine structure. But I feel like if we're leading with that, like, how do I get someone to do something? It automatically kills your like zest and
kills the vibe.
Passion. Yeah, it totally kills the vibe. It totally kills the vibe in what you're doing, instead of coming from like, oh, what am I really excited to share and to talk about right now? And then how do I apply a structure to it?
Yes. And to your point, I think even we worry about the way they look, right?
Yes.
So our grids have to look nice. And it's, I have to go on Canva, and then it's 4 extra steps. Am I going to do it as a reel? Am I going to do it as a post? Is it going to be a multi-slide post? There's a lot that goes into it. I feel like that, to your point, takes away from what it is that we want to say. I kind of miss the days where you could just go, it's not always about grabbing attention. It's just, what's the message? But unfortunately, I feel as if that's what we have to do to get somebody to actually hear read the message.
I want to challenge that, because I've been paying attention to this, because when I find somebody on Instagram that does not have a pretty feed, it's very like, it's just meh. They're putting up whatever. They're not doing the Canva thing. They're just posting their stuff. And then they have a ton of followers, like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 followers. I'm like, wait a minute. You can have a really big audience without this. Now, not to say I don't know when they grew that audience. Was it recently? Was it 10 years ago? But I think we also get locked into what we think it has to be.
And I love hearing you say this, because it makes me feel better. And I don't know. So I know you do like, you record some reels where you'll just talk, right? And so I have very few posts. I'll be honest with you. I'm not very good about being out there regularly, which is why we're talking about this. But I find that I've done over the last month or so a couple of reels where it was just, me giving a 90-second message about something. Those posts had way more engagement than the pretty posts from Canva that I spent, it take me 5 minutes to write the post, but maybe almost an hour sometimes to actually build and design the posts. And those actually got way more engagement than any other posts that I made. So I think you're onto something. Maybe we need to stop thinking about it and feeling that pressure to make it look good.
100%. Yeah. Like, and even for me, like if it has a billion steps to it, it's not going to happen. Reels have a lot of steps for me. I don't know what it is with reels, but I can do the Canva and get that done quicker or more easily. I think it's because I'm sitting in front of the computer and like I'm not distracted. Where reels, I'm
Mhm.
usually the kids are in somewhere and I'm dealing with that too. And I'm trying to squeeze in content in the middle of
Mhm.
life, which it's a lot of pressure with that. And so reels, like it takes way more for me to get into a reel than it does to do like a carousel post. Carousel posts easy. Um, so I think to understanding what's easy for you, right?
Mhm.
And maybe it's even going live. Maybe that's easier than doing
And
all the
that's
other
sort of the
stuff.
2 that I did. They weren't, they were reels, but they were more just me recording myself
Yeah.
talking for 90 seconds sitting at my
Yeah.
desk. So it was
Yeah.
nothing fancy. I didn't really, it was just something popped into my mind and I was like, "Oh, I need
Hmm.
to share this right now." I wish that would happen more often because I think it would be easier. And maybe it's like a muscle that the more we work it. But I mean, this is really helpful for me even just to think about it that way because I do feel like there is this pressure to create something that looks so beautiful. But you're
Yeah.
exactly right. I mean, that's not necessarily what stops me in the feed. Like that doesn't stop my scroll because it looks pretty. It'll be sometimes I think you do from a branding perspective start to recognize certain accounts,
Oh, for sure.
posts and what they look like. And I mean, that I think is very helpful because then you
Yeah.
sort of, it's so much in our feeds and you're following, hundreds or
Yeah.
thousands of people to know, oh, there's Rachel's. I'm going to stop and read this because I
Hmm.
know it, I recognize it. But to not necessarily feel like it's about having the most beautiful grid or the grid that's, structured in a way where you have two posts and then a picture and then two posts and then a picture and all of the things
Hmm.
that I think, and it goes back to, for me, I'll go off on my tangent for a minute here, but it almost reminds me, I guess we could equate that to the whole idea of how we're supposed to market our businesses.
Mm.
We're told, yet again, we're told this is what we're supposed to do. This is what
Yep.
the algorithm wants. This is
Yep.
what,
Yep.
but I think we have to, I always have to remind myself that energetically that doesn't matter, right? So if
Yeah.
we are in alignment and we do, it always
Yeah.
comes back to that. And
Yeah.
it's so simple, but it's easy to forget that if we just remember that it doesn't matter whatever we say in our authenticity, it is going to attract the people that are meant to hear it. And it's trusting in that, right?
Yes. Oh my God. I love it. I hope my VA pulls that section out. um, I totally agree. And this is actually something I feel like has been really coming through intuitively lately is that, and I'm guilty of it myself. I put on a face per se when I go on live. And not to say that that's not me, because it is still me, but
Of course.
it's how do you want to show up and in a way that feels good to you, right? Um, I mean, it could be anything. I have a defined G, and a defined throat, but I still there's like more of an excitement level that I want to show up with than I'm necessarily doing in the background. And I want to give people permission to do it whatever way you want, right?
Mhm.
That you can show up happy and you don't even have to. I know there's a couple projectors that are very serious and they do
Mhm.
really, really well, right? Because they're
Yeah.
showing up the way they want to show up. So, really getting curious about how you want to show up. How do you, and not basing it off of, I know that that person is super excited. I want to be like them and I'm going to show up like them. No, this is how do you want to show up? If you had to show up like that all the time, and even undefined G's, like show up the way you want to in that day.
Mhm. Yeah, and it might be different every
It
day,
might be
right? It's
different
not,
every
yeah.
day, right?
Mhm.
But just every time you go, like who do I want to show up with this, right?
Yeah.
And connecting to the person that you want to connect with, where, energetically visualizing them, that kind of thing of like really connecting to the person that you want to talk to has helped me so much in getting over the like, what do I look like? Or,
Yeah.
or will I say the right thing? No, I trust that I'm going to say the right thing,
Yeah,
especially when I
that's a big
connect.
one.
Yeah, it is a big
That's a
one.
big one. Yeah,
Hmm.
and
It's
I feel like
trusting. That's
that's,
a mindset. It's a mindset.
yes, and that's exactly, it's funny. So, we're like telepathically communicating, because that was the word that really was popping into my head as you were speaking, because it's so much of that. I even wrote that on my list. It's trusting that, because I think that's the other thing too, coming from a corporate background or what, wherever people
Hmm.
have come from, especially if you come from that sort of structure, it's like, here are the 5 messages that I need to get across.
Yes.
And I remember doing this when I would give presentations in front of, like for my corporate clients or whatever. And I would be talking and my defined ajna would be spinning. And then my open crown would be like pulling in all the information. And there was so much going on that instead of just trusting what needed to come out of my mouth and like sort of a channeling sense, which I never would
Yeah.
consider myself a channeler,
Yeah.
but now I realize we all do that. I would be
Undefined
speaking.
throat, you can
I have a
100% channel.
defined, well, I have a defined, yeah,
Oh,
and I
wait,
do
that's
have a
right.
defined through,
That's
yeah.
right.
I'm
Sorry.
definitely my ajna and my throat and my G and my sacral. I go straight down the middle, except for everything else is the pressure centers are open. But I wouldn't be trusting that, defined
Yeah.
throat. I would be
Yeah.
instead like almost
Yeah.
acting like an undefined throat, reading the room, processing what people were thinking, and it never came out the way I wanted it to. What I realize
Mm.
now is the more I trust that I'm going to say, and even if I forget something that I think is important, I have to remember that that wasn't the message that needed to come out, and really
Yeah.
believe that, what comes out is what people need to hear in that audience in that moment. And once
Mhm.
I did that, especially as I started doing podcasts, because that, I'd have like a million notes and I'd be worried, am I going to forget something? And then when I realized, I was like, you cannot do this because you're going to sound like you're formulating. And once
Mhm.
I realized it and listened to myself on a couple of podcasts, I was like, oh my gosh, like where did that even come from? You don't even remember sometimes what you say. I have
Yeah.
a little bit of mental
Yep.
projector in
Yep.
the way my split is. And so I realize now that sometimes it's almost like soundboarding. You don't even realize what comes out of your mouth sometimes, but
Mhm.
it just happens to be, it'll be the right thing. And
Mhm.
it's
It's
trusting
trusting.
in that. And so that's why,
Yeah.
like, to me, that's a huge thing for all of us to learn.
It really is, and I know so I'm doing a group program that I'm launching next month, and that's a huge piece of it, is really understanding and trusting that what you're gonna say is enough. Like, that has been
Mhm.
such a huge journey for me, and I know
Oh,
so many
yeah.
people struggle with it, and that's why they overthink, and that's why they procrastinate, and that's like 'cause they don't
Yeah.
trust the words that are
And
coming out.
comparing, right? Like, so we compare other people, and you'll listen to
Mhm,
somebody and I'll say, "Oh my gosh, they're so eloquent." Or, then
mhm,
I listen to myself like, "Oh, you say like too much," or or whatever. And I'm like, it doesn't, I just did it. It doesn't matter though. And I think
yeah,
that's what it is too. We spend so much time looking at ourselves in comparison. But I think that's the whole point of what you and I are doing with our businesses, is helping people to understand that the way you're meant to do it and the way that feels the
mhm,
best and the
yeah,
most aligned and the
yeah,
most authentic is what is going to attract what we're meant to attract. And we have to, again, trust that,
trust that, yeah,
we want
yeah,
the people that are going to come in because of that authenticity, and not,
mhm,
if we pretend to be somebody we're not, or say things just to, because we think it's what we're supposed to say, then we're going to
mhm.
get people that we don't maybe necessarily aren't meant to work with either.
Mhm. Yep. You start to overthink and you put in, yeah, you're just saying things that aren't going to actually attract the people that you want when you overthink. Um,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. I
So
had a
what do
thought.
you think, like, in
Yeah.
terms of your type or your design,
Mhm.
how do you I think about this a lot. How do you, as a man gen, or or not even necessarily just by type, because there's so much, obviously
Yeah.
so much more to it. How do you feel that affects how you show up on social? Not that I'm here to interview you, but I'd be curious to like have a little talk about that.
Oh, I feel like as a man gen, there is a little bit of an expectation to show up excited. I've seen most generators don't feel that. Like they're like, no, I'm just here to share my stuff. Like there's
Mhm.
no pressure there as much to show up excited, where man gens, I feel like we want to share, like we're ready to go. And there's that kind of expectation. And I do it myself. And well, yes, I am like that in some ways. In other ways, I'm very, that sixth line on the roof comes through where it's like, I'm just going to watch you for a minute and not
Yeah.
say
I feel
anything.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, and there's so many layers to human design and how you show up, but I think
Yeah.
honestly, if you are grounded in the present moment, that's always, I think, key, whether you're safe whatever your design is, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. If you're grounded in the moment, you're trusting what you're going to say, trusting who you are, then whatever comes out is you. right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I is there a tip to, I
Like,
wanna
do
say
you
that
feel like from a topic perspective? Because I mean, obviously, as a
yeah,
you're multifaceted. You like
yeah.
lot of different things, and you have a lot. Do you find it hard to focus your messages? I mean, I always feel like your content is very focused and very well put together, so it doesn't come off.
I am almost to a fault in terms of, and this is something that I've been playing with in the last few weeks, really. Um, I'm usually really focused on business only. Like, this is it.
Mhm,
This is business. This is how what I combine with my business, but leave my personal life alone.
mhm,
And I'm not sure. I don't know why I do that. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's just that I don't want to share more personal stuff. But anyway, I'm trying to share more personal things, how my life is very blended, like business and life, like are weaved together. They're coexisting together. It's not one or the other.
mhm.
I'm constantly multitasking and yeah. Oh, I don't forgot the question.
Oh, no, I was just curious, like, in terms of how you felt your design affected the way you show
Mm,
like, you would show up. Because I think about that, and then I'm like, kind of too, I think what you were getting at too is it almost shouldn't matter. We should do it in a way that feels good, and if
yeah.
we do that, it's going to actually be us living our design without even really having to try or overthink it a whole
Yeah.
lot
And actually, I
too.
just had a thought, like, the reason I never shared the personal stuff is 'cause I didn't want people judging anything on my personal life. Like, you can judge my business, I've worked
Mm,
through that, but I didn't want anyone judging with the way I do life. Um,
yeah.
and
Well, people
so
are very
that's
opinionated,
people are, they're
generally.
so
Yeah.
opinionated. It's like, keep your opinion to yourself. You don't got
But
nothing
then
nice
your
to say.
people but your people, I think, would also be like, I really think when I see people juggling their kids and
Mhm.
work and businesses, I mean, I think we all are doing that to some degree,
Yeah.
especially now that we live in this virtual world that we didn't live. I mean, which has been great in so many ways because I think it's opened up. Like you and I maybe would never have met had,
Yeah.
things not been the way. Now everything is
Yeah.
online. And I feel like
Yeah.
I talk to people all over the world every day and it's amazing. But I also think that there are people that that appreciate that too. Because I think we all feel
Absolutely.
that. I mean, anybody that really is not feeling that is kind of either they maybe don't have children or they have like maybe they're more organized than me. But I think the majority of us are juggling to some
To
degree.
some degree, for sure,
Yeah.
and I think it does make someone feel a little bit more like, "Okay, she's gonna get that I have a lot on my plate," right?
Yeah.
Because I see her having a lot on her plate or
Yeah.
whatever, right? And there is a little bit of that. I don't wanna say it's a trust factor, it's more of I just resonate with not only the message that you're sharing in the business side of it, but also how you're doing life, that all of it
Yeah.
works
Well,
together.
because you wanna like the people you work with, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like every person, every coach, everybody I've reached out to, my fourth line has really kicked into gear over the last
Yeah.
couple of years in a way, and I laugh at it all the time because I used to hate to network in corporate. I was like I'd walk into a room and I'd be like, "I have nothing to say to these people," and I would think, "Why? I always have something to say." But you realize it's me just maybe because they weren't my people, in a lot of ways too, right? It's,
Mhm.
not that they weren't good people. They just maybe whatever they were talking about from a business perspective wasn't really where
Yeah.
my heart and soul
Yeah.
wanted to be. But I think you just, you start to realize that you're going to resonate with the right people. And every person that I've started to say, every person that I've reached out to, talked to, worked with, it's been because I've heard their personal story on a
Mm.
podcast or on their social media
Mhm.
feed. So I would say
Yep.
that, try that if you feel called to share it or include it. I wouldn't feel
Yeah.
judged because I do think that people appreciate that
Yeah.
too. Because they're like, oh,
Yeah.
I like her. I want to work with. That's what I always think. I'm like, I like her. I want to work with her. I want to talk to her.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean,
Right? We're in this world because we want to feel good about the people that we engage with.
right? We just
Yeah.
yeah, and you wanna feel like they're friends, in some
Yeah.
way. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's why it's called
I
social
think when
media.
you on this level, you do they do become your friends. And my husband teases me all the time. He's like, "Who are all these people that you're talking to every week? It's somebody new." He's like, "You make the most random." And I said, "I'm like, they are my friends." I said, in
Mm,
some ways, there are people that I have met virtually over the last few years that know me better than people that have known me my entire life. And I think it's just because we're all going through something together.
yeah.
We're growing through this sort of new business
Yeah.
approach together, and there's people that
Yeah.
are further, ahead than us, and people maybe, behind a little bit behind us, and we're all sort of moving in this direction. But ultimately we want to help people, right? We want to help
Mhm.
ourselves. We want to feel fulfilled in what we're doing every day with our time, which we only have so much of. And
Mhm.
why do you want to do it with somebody that you don't necessarily, and it doesn't mean that the person you don't resonate with is bad. They're perfect for somebody else, but maybe they're not perfect for
Yeah.
you. And
Yeah.
to me, I feel like the more I allow people to see who I am, even if it's not necessarily posting my messy house or like my kid on the iPad too much or whatever. But I also think the more I can be myself, and again, the whole point of both of our businesses is being authentic in your business and doing that
Yeah.
through your design and your energetics. I think the more people actually kind of resonate with that too. And can
Mhm.
make a decision about whether or not they want to work with me. And if they don't
Yeah.
want to work with me, that's great. Like they're going to find somebody that's perfect for them.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Have you noticed have you played with, um, when you post and noticing how you feel when you post, and then knowing that you're like, "This is I'm just putting this out there to put it out there," versus when you're like, "This is what I really wanted to talk about and what I'm really excited to talk about." Have you noticed any differences in engagement when you do that?
Yeah. So I will say that I have not pushed myself to post more than I felt called to, right?
Good.
It's always the
Yeah.
shoulds. I was a
Yeah.
case of the shoulds. I think I actually posted that a couple of weeks ago. But I post very infrequently.
Mhm.
And I feel guilt and pressure about that.
Mm.
But I have learned to not put that guilt or pressure on myself because I realize that when I do post, because I have to, I don't see the engagement, and I also don't feel as accomplished, where when I just sort of have the inspiration to post something,
Yeah.
then I actually feel really great after. I mean, I always feel
Yeah.
great when I post because I feel like I checked something off my list, open root
Right.
problems. But at the same time, I want to feel like whatever it is that I said had meaning to me in that moment.
Mhm.
And so I kind of
Mhm.
feel like sometimes sharing my own struggles, that's what a lot of it I feel like is a lot of what I post is about that. It's like feeling what we
Yeah.
should do or what. And
Yeah.
I love PR for that reason too, because I always say like if you have a funnel and you've built this great digital, marketing business, PR will only help you. But for a lot of people, I think that doesn't feel very aligned. It can feel we've talked about
Mm.
this before, it can feel very
Yeah.
salesy, or
Yeah.
there's a lot of like pressure to have to do certain things or push out posts to your email list. And what I like about PR is I would say, PR is there when you have the energy for PR, and for especially people, like those like projectors or manifestors or reflectors, you can sort of start it up
Yeah.
and shut it down as you feel called. And for
Yeah.
us sacral types, we can do the same thing because I am a generator, but I only have 4 defined centers. So I'm not always a super
Mhm.
energetic person. Like I'm not,
Yeah.
I can be, but I feel good when I have downtime. And so
Mhm.
for me to have to do anything every day, I also have the 5:15 channel. And so for me, like the rhythm of my day is never going to be the same. And so I'll never be that person that is like, as much as I try, that's going to post on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 o'clock. It's just
Yeah.
it's not gonna happen. And so
Yeah.
I think it is just trusting that and this is really tough, and I still struggle with it, but knowing that when something needs to come out, it's going to come out. I mean,
Oh,
I would like to increase my frequency. I think I need a better cadence, but I feel good about what I've posted because it all
yeah.
feels very natural. It feels natural or spontaneous.
I love that. I can hear people going, "But I'm afraid I will never want to post if I only
No. But
follow
you know what though, you
that
will.
signal."
I think it's like, do you notice when you have, so I think everybody feels this sometimes, but and I don't think this is necessarily a human design thing, but it's like when some days you really have to push yourself just in general,
Yeah.
right? Like we're
Yeah.
tired
Yeah.
and what I have learned, especially in taking a break from work over that past year, I mean, now I'm sort of back probably even working more than I want to, but I realized that things get done even when I don't push through them. And I used to
Mm,
spend so much of my like pushing
yeah.
through stuff, right? Like we're exhausted and that's burnout, right? We're just
That's
pushing and
burnout.
pushing and pushing. I
Yeah.
have to get these things done today. What I started to realize is that even as I was building this intuitive PR business, I would force myself to work on my website and spend 2 days writing copy, doing all of these things, but I didn't want to. It wasn't
Mm.
coming that like natural and spontaneous way. And what I would realize is 2 weeks later, it was all wrong. And when I had the energy for it,
Oh,
it would
shit.
then I'd rewrite the whole thing in like 2 hours. And I'm like, there's
Yes.
got to be something to this. So even this week, like I've been really, really dragging this week. And I feel like I should be pitching. I should be doing these things. I should be doing this, that. I should be going to Costco, like stupid stuff even that it just doesn't need to happen. But it's always there. And
Yeah.
I was just like, you know what? No, I'm not going to do it this week. And I'm just going to trust that it will get done in the timing that it needs to. And so that's been a
Mhm.
practice for me. And again, I'm not saying that everyone should stop posting on social media, but for me, what I realized is the less pressure I put on myself, the more productive I end up being at the end of the day.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think we've gotten into this a little bit of a hamster wheel of it has to be daily, it has to be whatever. And now there's just so much content out there that, yeah, the algorithm doesn't know what to show, doesn't like,
Hmm.
why not just lean back a little bit, right? And trust that what you need to say will come out and you'll feel that
Yeah.
push to put it out there and trust that, like, if it's just once a week, it's once a week. It's not gonna,
Hmm.
the whole business isn't gonna fall apart because you're not posting every day, right? Um,
Exactly.
I feel like I've done this with the group program in November. I have wanted to bring it back for like over 6 months, but it never felt right. It never felt right. I was like, "Nope, it's not yet. Nope. Nope.
Hmm.
Nope."
Yeah.
And there's been pieces that have fallen into place in the last like 2 weeks, and I'm like, "That's why it wasn't coming out earlier," and
Hmm.
trusting that, like, even though it's launching, I need to like, I'm overhauling the whole thing that I did a year and a half ago, basically a whole new program. I haven't created the sales page yet. I haven't, like, I'm gonna launch it in 2 weeks. Like, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I know that it will all come out, that it'll all get done when the time is right. And trusting that is so, so key to
Hmm. It's
being in
hard though,
flow.
right? It's not,
Oh, it's
it's
so
not
hard.
easy.
I think it gets better with practice because you start to
It does.
see the fruits of that labor, right? Initially,
Yes.
it's like, this is
Yeah. Oh
like, this
yeah.
is an
You're like
experiment, right? And maybe it's even
gritting
going
my
into it,
teeth.
like saying, this is an experiment. I'm gonna try just for the next, month or 2 months or whatever to follow that authority, that this is it's just who I am and how my energy works and really playing with it,
Yeah.
and then seeing what the result was. How did it feel? How did it, I mean, even if it's not so much of growing your business and making a bunch of money, I think that's also a trap that somehow if we follow and we do everything right, we're going to
Hmm.
have the thing. We're going to have like tons
Yeah.
of money and clients and and that's a false trap as well.
And it's also, I think, the wrong reason, right? So I think when we're
Yes.
doing things, right, like so many, and I get it, like we have to live in this world and deal with money and,
Yeah.
right, we all need to survive. But I think it's so easy to be focused on that. And what I found is
Hmm.
the less I focus on that, the more easily it comes, right? And so
Hmm.
sometimes
Yeah.
it is like trusting that you're in the right place. I was saying this to you when we were chatting before we hit record, how, I launched my coaching business and I'm teaching people how to do PR using their human design. And next thing you know, and I told you some of my traditional consulting, next thing you know, I get approached by a pretty big human design expert out there who says, "Oh, will you help me do my PR?" And
Hmm.
at first I was like, "No, this isn't what I wanted to do." But then I got this big sacral yes saying, "Well, yeah, why not? This is a great opportunity." And
Yeah.
so following that path, what I'll say is I think this is sort of aligned with what you're saying. I've learned so much, even more than, like I even have taught myself things that after 25 years in PR, I
Yeah.
think I, didn't know before, that I know will make me a better coach,
Hmm.
as I take on more clients on that
Yeah.
side too. So I think we're led
Yeah.
where we're meant to be and the
Oh
timing, and we
yeah.
just have to trust that.
We
And it
do.
is hard, but I agree with you. The more I've seen the benefits of it and I've seen it work out in my favor and just trust that I'm not always driving the car,
Hmm.
the better it is. And it actually makes things easier in a lot of ways too. Cause I think, even when I'm pitching something, I'm like, oh, I don't know what I have to come up with a new angle. And I'm like, no, you don't. It's just going to come in when the time is right. And it does. I mean, it sounds so, fluffy to say that, but I spent so much of my career pushing my brain
Hmm.
to come up with the solutions that I think I've realized that it's always there. It's just being open and in the space to allow it to come in. And I think that's something that, just as a human race, we all struggle with because we're just not, the world doesn't operate that way. But I think it's
No.
starting to change.
I think it's starting to change. Yeah. And I think the more that we play with this idea of the feminine flow with the masculine structure
Mhm.
and just allowing ourselves to have our own journey. It's not linear. Quit
No.
thinking it's linear. Stop. Just stop.
Yes.
Because it's not. Um, there's so many factors and personal factors that what worked for one person may not work for you. And I mean, human design
Yes.
shows you why in a lot of ways. But also you don't need to know human design to know that your journey is your
No.
journey. And maybe that way of doing things isn't the way that you're meant to do it. Right.
I agree. And I think what human design did for me was it never told me who I was or how to operate, but it gave me
Mm,
permission to operate in the way that I always knew was right for me, but that I
yeah.
judged.
Yeah.
Like you think about things all
Yeah.
the time. I think back and I thought, oh, you're so bad at having a schedule. Why aren't you more structured? Why
Mhm.
can't you, get up like
Mhm.
everybody else and do things in this linear way? And because some people are really good, but I now know that that's just not the way I'm meant to operate. And
Mhm.
even just knowing, even like operating in response as a generator, to me, that has been really freeing for me too, because
Mhm.
sometimes I think, and again with social, knowing what to say when you're sort of staring at a blank screen or a blank page is really difficult
Yeah.
because I do operate in response. And again, looking back at my corporate career, I would see why I was really good at, maybe having the big idea or sort of
Mm.
guiding things through the
Yeah.
process or operating in response to things that would come in to me. But if you said to me, sit down and like build out a plan for this project that we're doing, I would be like, oh, like I'd stare at the paper and I just was not good at
Yeah.
structuring that type of thing out. And
Yeah.
so, it just again, it gave me so much permission to be like, oh, okay, I'm meant. And what I started to realize as I did operate more in my feminine flow and sort of let some of that masculine energy go, everything became not just easier, but it also worked better. I saw better results in almost every area of my life in
Mhm.
general,
Mhm.
which, again, gives you more confidence to just keep going and trust that there's something to all of this.
Yeah. 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 Oh my gosh, so good. Um, mm, yeah, I so agree that like I mean same for me. Like I'm being able to respond to things and trusting. For me, it's really connecting to the person on the other side and trusting and really going within and asking like head and heart coherence, connecting to their heart. What do they want to hear?
Hmm.
And starting there and how do I bring me into that topic? Um, and then releasing the how.
Yeah.
There's
And
so much how.
intuitively, right? Because you have so much knowledge. I think that's the other thing too. We have so much in our brains that
Yeah.
it's trusting that whatever you're going to say in that moment is what that person needs to hear too, right? Even when you
Yeah.
look at a chart, I feel like that's what I sort of try to just where am I being drawn to? And in
Mm,
life,
yeah.
what am I
Yeah.
being drawn to? And
Yeah.
and I have to trust that there's a reason that I'm being pulled in
Mhm.
that direction.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I
I
love
always say let go of the shoulds. That's probably one of the best things that I've ever done. I mean, there's always things we do every day because I mean, I would never grocery shop or do laundry or make my bed if I had, my choice. But at the same time, I think there's so much we say yes to please other people. And,
Mhm. Yeah.
I think you can still give what you need to give to other people without necessarily giving too much of yourself.
Totally. And I mean,
That's been big for me
in
too.
that should, like, it's not how should I grow my business? It's how do I want to
Hmm.
grow my business? How do I want to
Yes.
show up? How do I want to connect with people? Like, there's so many different ways to connect with people I
Yeah.
mean, you could do literally only PR and not have social media
Yeah,
if you
you
wanted
could.
to.
I mean, you could, or you could have an email list, right? And not
Yeah.
have, I would say at least those things you own too, right? I mean,
Mhm.
and I'll say that most people are not, in the space that we're talking about, most people did not start these businesses to be back in a corporate feeling environment. And
Mm-mm.
I think sometimes when
Mm-mm.
you follow the shoulds, and again, they're right for some people. I never knock them, but for a lot of people, they're not. And when they're not right for you, and you end up back on that hamster wheel, you start to say, well, wait, this is not why I went in this direction, right? I could have stayed in my corporate job where I didn't have to build the
Mhm.
business. I could just do the job.
Mhm.
Maybe I didn't love it, but I'm doing sort of the same. It's like the same energy. I think that a lot of people
Yeah.
left. And so
Yeah.
I just think it's great to be able to know that there's other ways out there to grow your business and to market your business. And it could be any combination of all of the things, right?
Yep. Any
Otherwise, you're going
combination.
to end up somewhere where you don't want to be. I think the shoulds
Yeah.
always land you somewhere that you're like, why am I here? And then you can
Why
say, oh,
am
I
I
know
here?
exactly why I'm here because I followed I followed the shoulds.
Yep. Oh my gosh, I love that. uh, what else do you think that people need to know about
Mm.
social media? I'm asking myself the same question.
I know. I'm trying to think what else there is. I mean, I feel like I do. I mean, I shouldn't. I'm not going to say it's a struggle for everyone because I do think some people just naturally,
Yeah.
just do it and it feels really good to them. And even I'm looking at myself, I'm like, it should feel really good to me. I've never struggled to show up on social, but I think a lot of it is, there's something in our own shadow that's stopping us from
Yeah.
doing what we know, and it should feel
Yeah.
very natural and easy. And I
Yeah.
think that's what it should be. I think we were talking about earlier. It should just feel good. And I think when it doesn't
Mhm.
feel good, there's probably another reason that we need to explore. That's kind of where I am now. It's like, what is stopping me from posting more frequently?
Yeah.
Some of it is even just it's time too,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
again, if it's kind of off the cuff and you trust it, it shouldn't take a lot of time. Like we were saying, like even when I would just record just like a video reel, just of me sitting here, those got way more engagement than
Mhm.
any of the posts that I spent lots and lots of time on. So, maybe that's what it is. It's just saying, maybe I just need to show up and say hi to people and let whatever comes out
Yeah.
come out. And if my hair is not done or I don't have any makeup on or what, it's not, it doesn't, knowing that it doesn't have to be perfect because that's not what people are really seeing or hearing. It's your frequency. I think it's
Mhm.
just always remembering that that's what is going to resonate with people.
For sure. Yeah. And I want to say that there's a way to leverage past content too, that you don't have to keep
Yes, you're
on
very
this.
good at that. At like, yeah,
Yeah, like, you don't have to create every single week, like, use some past content or, something that's kind
yeah.
of consistent. That's the only way that I post, like, sales kind of, selling type posts is because
hmm
it's on autopilot.
Yeah. Well, and also knowing too, like I've had people tell me this too. It doesn't, you can say the same thing. And I should know this because it's like the rule of PR. If someone asks you the same question four different ways, your answer is your answer, right? And you never have
Mhm.
to deviate from that. And really, you have to just remember that in social, not everybody has seen every prior post. So giving
Mhm.
the same message
Yeah.
in a different package is
Yep.
okay too. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be. I think that's what it is too. We think we struggle for we have this fresh content with this
No.
earth-shattering new revelation
No.
that we've never shared before, and
No.
that's not what it
That's a
is
lot of
either.
pressure. That is a
Yeah,
lot of pressure, and, I mean, I feel that. I'm like, when I'm writing a
yeah,
post, I'm like, "Oh, this has to be really good. It has to be really deep," and, like,
right.
right? Like, no, number 1, it doesn't. It can be something light and easy. The content queen, I love her. Like, she's really good about really I think she creates something within a couple of minutes and then posts it and is very, like, in the moment with what she's going through, and
Oh,
it's
so, like, no stewing over it, no, like,
no,
editing,
and
no
it's
fixing. I love that.
she 100% knows what her voice is and what her, I guess, I don't want to say angle, but like that's a very like masculine term, but like she knows what she does and she does it
Yeah,
really well.
she
And
knows her message, right? She
yeah,
knows what she
exactly.
needs
She
to
knows
put
her
out. Yeah.
message. And um, but for I mean, me, I'm even sitting there going, ah, it's got to be really like
Oh, yeah.
deep and
Well, and
like
I have to
connect to
remember
the
too. Yes. Right. And I have the 2343 and I'm like
oh yeah.
simplicity for me is important too. So that's again, like I'll look at other people's posts and I'm like, "Oh, they're so intellectual and smart." And I'm like, that's not what I'm necessarily here to give people, right? I'm here to
Mhm.
boil it down into a very simple message in very few words. It
Yeah.
shouldn't, it should be more about how it makes somebody feel than
Yeah.
about how
Yeah.
it's how it necessarily sounds. And so it's just remembering, and again, like just another thing that gives me permission to know that I don't have to have these, because I think I enjoy people's thought-provoking posts. And so then I'm always like, do I have to provoke thought? Do I have to do this? And
Yeah.
again, too much thinking about what it should
Too
be or
much
what it should
thinking
look like,
what
or
it should be.
yeah, where it should just be another should, but it really is supposed to be what we feel most compelled to share in that moment.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I might actually have to test that out and just do more,
Yeah.
like and kind of commit to a little bit of a schedule and just say like 3 times per week, I'm just gonna like pop in and say whatever I'm thinking and see what that does.
I like that. I've been trying to do that with my Facebook group once a week, going in and doing like a Facebook Live of whatever I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
I need to do that more, I think, on Instagram too. And even using like words, what is it? Word swap, or there's an app that you can do pictures with words over the top to make a
Oh,
really
I'll
fast. Yeah,
check
let me
that
look it
out.
up.
Yeah.
So you know what it
Oh, share
is.
that with me. I'm always looking for tools, but
Word
then I add
swag.
the tools and what is it?
Word swag.
Word swag. Oh, I
Yeah,
like
it's an
that.
app, and it makes really cool, I mean, simple posts. You can do it in whatever size you want with stock images, your own images, and then put words over the top. Doing something like that more often too, like once a week, just
Hmm.
quote, just like, what am I thinking about? What is something that I've talked about with clients, or what is something that the industry is talking about right now that I do not agree with, or any those kinds of questions, and um,
Yeah.
just get you in that mindset, I guess, of
Yes. And I
creating
liked
content.
doing it in response to, like you're saying, it's sort of not necessarily related to the word swag, but for me, being in response is so much easier than
Yeah.
staring at that the blank screen. And so that's how I've been trying to think about that too. What
Hmm.
has somebody asked me? What have I seen? What have I read? What has triggered my interest? And what is
Hmm.
my, what do I have to add to that conversation too?
Yeah.
And I think that helps
Yeah.
for a lot of us too.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't always have to have an earth shattering, I think there's so much content that I think that's what it is. There's this pressure to stand out,
Yeah.
this pressure to have something that no one's ever said before. No thought is ever entirely original. So I feel is it, but we do
That's
also
true.
all have something very authentic to share. So it's just putting our little
It's putting your
aligned.
stamp on it. Yeah, and honestly, I
Yeah.
look at all the people that are really successful on Instagram and whatnot. They're themselves,
Hmm.
100%. Like, they're just, "This is who I am, take it or leave it," and we all need a little bit more of that in
Yes.
our content. "This is me, take it or leave it. Jump
Yeah.
on the bus, I'm leaving the
Yeah,
station."
and even if you have a strong opinion, because I find myself doing it all the time. Like I caveat when I talk about the other types of ways they're in a market, and again
Mhm.
I caveat only just because I do think they work for people, but I also think that for a lot of people they can be really toxic too. And for a long time I hesitated to even say that because I thought, oh, I'm going to offend somebody, but then I thought, if I'm
Yeah,
really going to offend that person, they're probably not for me. I mean, I tend not to be a pretty offensive person in general, I don't think, but I also think if somebody's going to take that away from it, then
mm.
it's probably just not a good fit to begin with.
Well, and that's actually a really good point, because I feel like for a little while I was like, "Oh, but I don't want to." I know that there's so many ways you can do business, especially looking at human design, right? I don't want to pigeonhole
Mhm.
anyone into or box anyone into something that may not be right for them. And so I'm going to censor myself in an effort to
Yeah.
not make anyone feel like they have to box themselves in or whatever, right? But I think that in itself, I mean, you're dampening your own voice, and you're
Mhm.
not giving them the agency and the sovereignty to make the choice themselves and to have their own life journey and life experience. And you're not calling in
Yeah.
the right people. If you are
Yes.
using your authentic, if you're showing up authentically as yourself, saying the things that you want to say, you're calling in your people, the people that
You're a
you are
fractal.
meant to
Yes.
work with. And if you're censoring in any way, you're gonna get people that are not who you're meant to work with, and then it'll be a pain in the
Exactly.
butt. They'll be like, they
Yeah,
just will not
but
be
it's
a
true.
happy experience.
It's very, very true. I couldn't agree with that more. And I think that's the whole point is and even with human design, I always say everyone gets, we're all on our own path. We all get there in a different way, whether it's
Yeah.
spiritually, from a business perspective. For me, human design, again, just gave me so much permission, which is, I think, why it was such an important element for,
Yeah.
or modality for me. But I
Yeah.
think that's what it is. You present people with options, and I
Mhm.
always say, what resonates with you? I could tell
Yeah.
you a gazillion things from your chart about what you might want to talk about, how you might want to talk about it, but you're ultimately going to make the decision in your
Totally.
sovereignty as to
Yeah.
what feels right for you. And I think, we can only do that for ourselves. But I think that's another part of the problem is that people look out there and they think, oh, there's only one way. Do it this
Mhm.
way if you want to succeed. Do
Mhm.
it this way if you want your first 5-figure month. Do it this way if you want, 50,000 Instagram followers. and it doesn't work. It's not going to work for everybody if it's out of alignment.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the message that people need to hear. It is,
Yeah.
it's truly, I think, there are a lot of people out there speaking that message, but there are a lot of people that are just trying to sell courses or whatever that are not,
Well,
sharing that
that's, I
message.
mean, that's marketing copy is you speak to
Yeah.
someone's problem and you're like, I can solve it. Right.
It's
And
pain, right? It's all about
the pain,
pain.
I'm going to
Yeah.
speak to the pain. I'm going to solve your problem. And people get tripped up because they don't trust their own intuition. They don't trust their own journey. They don't trust that, that's marketing speak. Like I can get tripped up with that. I can
Me
look at someone's
too.
going marketing like, oh, that sounds really good.
I
But if I
know. I
check in with
need that.
myself,
Right.
no,
Yes,
I'm
and
like,
we
this is a
know better,
no.
right? And that's the thing. And we know better. And I
Yeah.
think, like it's so easy to scroll through that feed and think, oh, like for a while I was like, oh, my state girl's not talking to me. Like I feel like I'm disconnected. So I'm like, oh, spark your state girl or whatever. I'm like, I need that course. Like, I don't need that course. I know, and sometimes we do need the course. I'm not saying that but it is sometimes out of a feeling
Yeah.
of, something missing or lack. And I think
Relax.
knowing, like
Mhm.
knowing how
Mhm.
to distinguish the difference is an
Yeah. Are you
ongoing
making the
process.
decision from lack or are you making the decision from, I have everything I need. What do I want to learn? What do I want
Yes.
to deepen into? Right. Is there, I mean, that's how I've turned to making
Yeah.
coaching decisions too and understanding. I mean, sacral is always leading there. There's always a piece of my open head, open asha that like jumps in is like, make sure you're
Yeah.
not falling for marketing.
Yeah. And I have a disconnect too, or like a split right between my throat and my ajna and my
Hmm.
G center and my
Yeah.
sacral. So a lot of times I now understand, again, more permission to understand why my mind constantly wants to overrule what my body knows is the right thing
Mm.
for me. And so
Ooh.
understanding that was like really
Yeah.
revelatory for me to say, not only do I have the defined ajna, but I have this split between them too.
Yes.
And it's like having two different personalities in
It
your
is.
body
It is.
sometimes too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're both very powerful. And it's, but the mind, I think, always tends, we're just conditioned to rely on that. And so, learning to trust your body's
Trust the body.
intelligence to me has been
Mhm.
really, really transformational too.
Mhm. And I've found that, like, the sacral doesn't respond the way it doesn't respond. You're using your mind when you're in that lack or when you're projecting the
Yes.
future or projecting from the past. If you're not present, then the sacral is gonna give you wonky answers, or it's gonna be your mind
Mhm.
telling you that this is what the
Or
sacral
mute.
said.
Like mine feels like it's asleep, right? Sometimes I feel like I'm like, are you
Yeah.
awake down there? What
Yeah.
is going on? And
Yeah.
that's what I think I noticed. That's a good way to think about it. I never quite thought about that before because there's something going on in my mind that's
Yep.
probably shutting it down.
Yep.
And
Shut
again, knowing the splits there and still not understanding why it's
Yeah.
always, like a
Yeah.
challenge.
Well, I'm single definition and I get that, but I'm an emotional something or other with my open solar plex, people or whatever around me,
Yeah. You
right?
feel you can like draw it in.
And
Yeah.
drawing it in. The open will is like, I can do it. I can do
Mhm.
anything. No, you can't stop.
Yeah. Or like I always get with the open will center, it's like I'm not enough. I don't know enough. I need more. I don't
Mm,
like knowing my value, I think has been something I've struggled with. And even just believing that I can make money in an area that I enjoy. I think, I've always have been very
yeah.
financially successful in corporate and, was raised with the
Yeah.
conditioning that you don't always get to do work you love to make money. And so to be able to move into an area where I'm seeing myself start to actually like balance out, where I'm moving more in this direction. And
Hmm.
my hope is to eventually be doing nothing, but this side, moving from like healthcare to the soul care work. But
Yeah.
you still sometimes feel like I think we all have the feelings that like we're not good enough or we're not,
Hmm.
we don't deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
100% feel that.
But awareness is half the battle. I just tell
It
myself
is.
being aware
It
of it
is.
is, and seeing it and,
Hmm.
doing the work, I think is just something that to me will always be a part of my life. And I wish I
Absolutely.
would have found it all sooner, but I guess it's like, again, the 606 line thing. Like I watch I watch my life in those stages. And now as I'm like a few years from 50,
Yep.
I'm like, okay, I'm like, the best is yet to come. I can't, and not that you even have to wait for that, because I think that's not necessarily a hard and fast rule, but
No, I don't think so. I mean, I
yeah,
come down off the roof and talk about what I want to talk about, but there is a
yeah,
huge piece of it that's like, no, it needs to be integrated. And the more that I
yes,
integrate, the more that I truly embody what I've learned,
yes.
everything changes.
Exactly. And the awareness of it, right? So I think if
Yeah.
I had lived my life unconscious
Yeah.
of all of this, maybe it would have taken me until 50 or after to sort of do something to make those big
Hmm.
changes. But, again, like I feel lucky to have had catalysts in my life, even if they were difficult ones, to
Yeah.
have sort of woken me up a little bit to say, oh, like
Totally.
maybe there's something else
Yeah.
here. There's something
Yeah.
else for me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I love it. I feel really lucky every day to get to, work in this world and talk to people like
Yeah.
you and
Yeah.
learn from everybody. I just think that's what we're all here to do at the end of the day. Like, we're here running businesses, but I think it's so much more than that.
Hmm.
It's really just about those connections that
Hmm.
we build with people, and
Yeah.
even if it's just the confidence we give somebody, I think,
Yeah.
or that they give to us. To me, that's really the gift of all of it.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, connecting with people and sharing our gifts and being who we are. And that's how we find our people. That's how we
Yeah.
do the
Like,
thing
even
that we
having
came
this
here to do.
conversation. Yeah, like even this conversation, I feel so much better about social media now. I'm like, all right, I'm going to try some new things this week.
Yay. Me too. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna
Or
do it.
we'll be accountability partners,
Right.
which is the wrong thing to do, right? Because it's never should.
It's
Like,
never
Rachel, did you
should.
post?
It's yeah,
Right.
no, it'd be more like having an accountability partner go, why didn't you show up? What's
Yeah.
there that we can work through together? And
Yeah,
so that you can show up and do the thing, right?
exactly.
Or maybe you don't need to be on Instagram at all.
Yeah, I mean, and that could be a I still am sort of on the fence about all of it, but I think, you know what, I do enjoy Instagram, so I can't say
Yeah.
that. Facebook, not so much, but Instagram is somewhere where I really like, especially once I think you shift
Mm,
your own following to the things that you want to see. I
yeah.
think it just opens up a lot. It's a very in a lot of ways people are like, oh, social media is so toxic, and I said I think we get to choose whether or
Yeah.
not it's toxic. It's a choice.
It can be either or and,
Yeah.
right? Like it can be
Yes,
toxic, it can
exactly.
be incredible. It's just how you decide to show up. It's what you
Yeah.
decide to share. It's what you decide to engage with.
Yeah, and
And
follow who you
you
follow,
follow who
and
you
yeah, it's
follow. Yep. Yeah. So, oh yeah. Feel like we could go on and on and on,
on
but
and on.
I have to take the
Ugh.
kids to the Botanic Gardens for a field trip.
Okay. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. We're doing a little homeschool field trip today. So,
Oh, very cool.
yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda, for coming and talking today. This conversation was, I mean, I feel like it was truly sacral. It went all over the place, but it covered so many points that I think people will get a lot out of. So thank you so much for bringing your brilliance today.
Oh, well, it was so nice to talk to you again, and thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.